So, this is just a blurb. To do 2 to the x, okay, what we don't do to construct this graph is we don't do any calculations that can't be expressed exactly. We don't do any calculations we can't do either in our head or on paper. We don't memorize that 2 to the negative 2 is 1/4. We know that 2 to the negative 2 is 1 over 2 squared, which is 1 over 4. Okay? We have to know that. We have to know that rule. It's going to come up again and again. We need that rule, and one of the reasons I had you do this exercise, other than being able to do the graphs quickly and efficiently, is to review the laws of exponents, the relevant laws of exponents, and get used to them, because when they come flying at you, when we're trying to solve rational equations and stuff like that, you're going to really need them, and you're not going to want to have to go back and learn them at that point. Okay? Now, you're supposed to have learned them before you came in here, but again, if you didn't, you're along with the majority, because our system doesn't
The school system is a sham.
turn out people that can do that. Okay? So anyhow, so one thing is, you'll be able to evaluate these. The other is, you can't tell me what 2 to the negative 1/2 is. Yeah, it's 1 over 2 to the 1/2. You might know that that's 1 over the square root of 2. You might even know that the square root of 2 is 1.414, but then it has unlimited number of significant figures after it, so you can't calculate it exactly, and neither can your calculator. There's no exact value, and we use exact values only. Now, this is something that I emphasized a couple of months ago at the beginning, but I'm noticing people have forgotten a lot of stuff we did back at the beginning, so I'm reinforcing it now. Okay? Make sure you can do this, because I think everybody pretty much could back in late January. Okay? Exact values only. There is no such thing as an exact value, at least that you can express numerically. I mean, the exact value is 1 over the square root of 2, which is the square root of 2 divided by 2. You can approximate it. It's pretty close to 0.71, but I don't want to see that. Okay? I don't care if you know it. I'm glad if you do know it. But I don't want to see it when you construct this graph. Okay? So, this line gets crossed out. And so does the 1/2 line, because it comes down to the same thing. You can't get an exact value, and that's very important to understand. Okay? And then 2 to the 0 is 1, and I really hope nobody puts down 0 there. Okay? And then 2 to the 1 is 2, 2 to the 2 is 4. Now we can easily construct a nice graph of 2 to the x, right? Okay? How do you construct the graph of the square root of x? Or how do we construct the graph of
X squared.
log base 2 of x?
Base 2 of X is just the inverse.
Okay? These are both inverse to functions that we easily construct. This is inverse to what?
X squared.
Okay? Which means that we put our 2, 1, negative 2, negative 1, negative 1/2, 0, 1, 2 here. Okay? Because those would be the values of x on a graph of x squared. Then we get 4, 1, 1/4. Well, not lining them up right. 4, 1, 1/4, 0, 1, 4. And then we graph this, giving us our log graph. I mean our square root of x graph.
You forgot the
Notice
positive half.
that none of these numbers here, I'm sorry?
You forgot the positive half. Positive 1/2. Because it's supposed to be 4.
Yeah, I did. I should have had 1/2 in here, but you understand what I'm saying, right? So, don't want to erase it and smudge it up. It's already smudged up, but you understand?
Yeah.
Okay? And for log base 2, Well, that's just inverse to this, right?
Yeah.
So we do the inverse. We write the first column here, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. We write the second column here, 1/4, 1/2, 1, 2, 4. And we plot those points and we get the graph of the log base 2 function as an inverse function. Not by punching numbers into a calculator, right?
Yep.
And then we use these graphs to do estimates, which is what I'm asking you to do in the assignment here. There'll be other assignments, but that's what we're asking you to do, okay? Now, the reason I'm asking you to do this is because this should give you the framework that I have been trying to build from the beginning. Okay, and many of you have that framework, okay? Classes maybe half and half, maybe a little fewer in the half that really understands it, okay? But there's a kind of gray area, people that pretty much understand it. You want to lock it in now. If you don't understand it, you're probably going to need to do all of these problems, but they're not difficult as long as you can construct these graphs. You just construct the graph and you do the stuff that you've seen us do all along, okay? Make sense? Now this is feasible. There are many people in here that have grades they'd like to bring up, B's that like to come up to A's, or somebody close to the A-B line that wants to really be sure they get that A, right?
Yeah, speaking of grades.
I love to give A's, but I don't give them unless you earn them,
Do
okay?
you have like our grades somewhere that you could tell us so we know what we're
Well, you know what your 2 test grades are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, if the average amount that's above 85, you've got an A at
Okay.
this point.
If your 2
Okay.
test grades are
Oh.
above 85, you have an A.
Huh?
No.
If the
What
average
did you
is
say?
If,
Yeah.
if you take your 2 test grades, average them. Is it above an 85?
No.
If it's not an A. If it is, it's an A.
Yeah, now that also assumes that you've been doing an adequate job in your homework, and I think, you know, if you, some of you that are at or close to that level who haven't had any homework lately, so your homework could bring you down a little bit. So you want to make sure that you get into the 90s.
So you don't have like an actual.
I didn't know my grade.
Written down.
Listen. I'm gonna do this out, but I do my test grades now.
If you
Tell
want to
wants
know,
reassurance.
Yes.
Yes.
Email me.
Okay.
You
I'll do that right now.
You pretty much know.
Fine.
You know what your
Okay.
average is. You know whether you've been doing all the homework or the most of it, okay?
Be reinsured, though.
I'm doing most of it, but
And
I don't know if it's like most enough. You know what I mean? Is it most
most of you,
enough?
between the A and B line,
What other class?
are probably in the ambiguous area, and
English.
all I can tell you is, it could go either way.
Oh gosh.
I need to have a kid.
Hold on.
Okay?
I need a calculator. Hold on.
Okay, well, we don't need to have this discussion here, but
I think we do.